Well, hello there. This is Paul McJ, and welcome to Minecraft Dad, my new tutorial video. Today we're going to be revisiting my digital timer tutorial. So this is the updated version. I'm going to show you how to build a piston memory array, which is the main component of this, how this works. So it does help though if I connect my redstone back up to that button. So let's do that quickly. Now that's connected back up, the thing's working. Right, as you can see, that right hand column is moving up sequentially. So when we get to 9, that should carry over to the middle column and change to a 1. There we are, and that will go up. And then that far left column, when we get okay, so 99 will be the 100. So this is how it works. This is a piston memory array. As you can see, it's nicely ticking along. And when it gets to 9 now, that block will activate and carry on to the next array. So this is basically what a piston memory array is. As you can see, we've got 4 sets of pistons which are pushed around these blocks here with corners cut off. So essentially, if we hit this button here, those pistons will push those blocks off. Now those blocks won't stay blank, we'll be inputting data into them to activate those outputs, and I'll show you that quickly. So if we go to the back, these are the outputs where those glass blocks are, but next to those repeaters we'll be adding a block. So for example, just get a solid block here, delete one of those glass blocks, put it in, and as you can see, it's activated that redstone lamp there. Now if we press the button again and push that round, that redstone lamp will go off. Simples. Now we're just going to connect this up to a redstone clock and add power to it. So I've got 5 repeaters there on 4 ticks, so it's about a second worth of delay. Now as you can see, it's pushing those blocks around, and you can see that blue block there making itself back round, and when it hits that repeater there, it'll set off that redstone lamp, like so. Now so this is a bigger array I've made. Now if you notice, this is slightly longer, so we've got 10 outputs there with redstone blocks and pistons, and we've also got a carryout as well. So as you can see, there's 10 outputs there, and the carryout, which is the 11th line there. So when that hits that second repeater, which is facing the other way, it'll knock that output out there. So that's what we're going to use in the build as the carryout to activate the next sequence in the array. So let me just show you briefly. This is our power to this here now. I created a shorter clock here just so it goes around quicker. Now as you can see, that output block there on the carryout, when it goes all the way around, it activates. So let's just add some memory to this now. So I'll put a block in there. So we've got 2 separate blocks going around. We've got the output for that piston there, which will activate now. Now we've got our carryout there as well. So this is the basis of how this machine is going to work. Now you can also do other things with it. Just for example, we've added some note box to each of those outputs, and I programmed some memory in for each of those blocks. When it reaches the last one, the carry out block will go out and hit that redstone amp. Quite cool. Right, so this is how we build a piston memory array. So we're going to get our normal pistons. I'm just going to build a small one, so we're just going to use 8 regular pistons in a row there. Now 4 blocks across. We're just going to put a block of any choice that you want. We're just going to add 8 pistons across that way facing that. Now we need to make the third set of pistons now, so what we're going to do is just get some blocks, put 3 up, put a block across there, so we have that piston facing that way at that angle, and of course we're going to put another 8 of them across. Now we just need to add the 4th set of pistons, and we'll do it like this. So we need another set of blocks, so 3, no, we need more than that, I think about 6 will do. 6, and then we'll cut that block out and we'll put a piston facing downwards. There we go. So we just need to put another 8 blocks, another 7 pistons going across that way. There we go, and now we can get rid of those glass blocks now. We don't need them anymore. Now we need to add power to these. Now they need to be set up on 2 separate circuits. So let's build our first circuit. So we need to extend this up from that bottom corner to the top of this one. You can see I've got another row on top of there with redstone, so we just connect all that up with redstone. There. So that's all connected up. So we've got 2 rows. We've got that bottom diagonal row and that top of a row there connected up now with redstone. And we just need to put a repeater there. And all across the back here. And connect it all up with redstone. So we just add a torch to it. Now we add power, and as you can see now, those 2 rows of pistons are now active. Let's get rid of that redstone torch. So we just need to wire up the other 2 pistons now. So we're just going to use a different colour block, just so we can differentiate between the 2 sides. So similar process, we're going to do a diagonal line up on that row. Right, so let's go up again, and just behind those, and connect it all up with redstone. So we just need to get our repeaters out, so over there, and all the way across again. So if we just add some more redstone, and let's add power, and as you can see now the other 2 sets of pistons are extended. Right, we also need to add some repeaters here and be here, and connect those up. So that's some redstone there, and some redstone there. We may not need that repeater there. I'll get rid of it in a moment. Right, so I'm just going to build a little switch here. So So torch there, some redstone there, and connect it up there. So we hit a button here, we'll just add some power to it, but let's get rid of that, we don't need that. Connect that up. Right. So those pistons are setting off at a slightly different timing to each other. So let's create a redstone clock. So there's 5 repeaters there, all on 4 ticks. And just build a simple clock. You could build a more complicated clock if you want to, but for this video, just a simple clock will do. And it's connected up to there, and add some power to it. Now, as you can see, each of those 2 pistons are working in tandem at a slightly different timing to each other, which will push blocks round. Now let's depower that. Right, we need to make sure that's set to 4 ticks. And we're just going to build our blocks to go round. I'm just going to use any coloured block now, just to show you how these things move around. So let's create a 4x4 square in between the pistons. And we also need to cut the corners out at the bottom and there. So when those pistons move around, it will move those blocks around. So let's put a different one, a glass block in there, so we can see it going around. So I'll just put a button back on there. As you can see, those pistons are pushing that all the way around, and you can see that glass block moving around one block at a time. No, let's just quickly add a clock circuit to it, and the whole thing is moving around, and that glass block is moving around with it. So we'll just make this clock a bit shorter, because you can always muck around with the delay. So this should, as you can see this time, it's moving around a bit quicker because we've added less delay to the clock. So I've just replaced all them with glass blocks, because this is what we're going to be using in our build rather than colour blocks. We don't need them for now. So what we're just going to do is fill in this area with glass. So we need 3 going up there, and fill in the row all the way across there. And the last row there is going to be our carry out. But let's just fill this up first. 3, 3, and this last row here will be our carry out line, which will be programmed slightly different to the rest of them. So I'm just going to get a different colour for our circuit. So this grey concrete will do. So I'm just going to add 2 lines of grey concrete all the way down. So we're just going to add a row of another repeaters going across here. Just make sure they're also set to 1 tick delay. And we don't need this last one. I'll show you now in a moment. So we're going to put a redstone torch there to power that redstone repeater, and then redstone and all the way down here. Now don't do what I just did there and put redstone there, because it will connect and cross over to that other line of redstone. So So we just need to put another torch and a repeater facing the other direction for the carryout. So we're going to put our repeater facing that way, and also our redstone torch there. So we just need to go back there, add another row of our glass there, and another row of grey concrete, and another row. So let's get our repeaters back out. We're just gonna put our outputs in. So I like to space them. So just need to space them a different way. So there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, add another row of outputs. So we put another row underneath there. Same there. Same there. And we put repeaters in each of those rows as well. So there we are, we've got 8 different outputs now. So we just need to finish building the rest of our glass blocks. So we need to go across there. Ooh. Across there. So just make sure that we still have those 2 corners, otherwise this thing won't work and it'll break. The blocks won't go all the way around. As you can see, that's working nicely. So we just need to connect some things to the outputs now. So I'm just going to put any colour block into one of these outputs. But first of all, let's build our outputs. So we'll just extend these bottom ones and add some redstone coming out of them. So I'm just going to extend this out a bit further. What should we have? Yeah, we'll just put a redstone lamp just to show us it works. And we'll just program this in. We'll put a colour block there. That now activates that repeater and that redstone lamp. So if we press the button now, that row will go round and that light will go off. Now that's essentially how you program each of those outputs. So you put a block, any solid block instead of a glass block there, and it acts as an output. So if you put a block there, that will be our carryout. So that's working on a different circuit to the rest of the repeaters. So that would be our carryout onto another array, which is doing something similar. So we're just going to add a simple output. Just another redstone lamp, just for simplicity. So we now should have 2 separate circuits going on. So we just added the clock back on. Now as you can see, when that blue block goes to that output, the lamp goes off, and then when that green block goes past the carryout, that light goes on. So 1 light, 2 light. So I've just added some sticky pistons and some redstone blocks. And I'm just going to create blocks there. Just get rid of these. We're going to go into some redstone lamps. So we'll put a button back in there. We're just going to program the rest of those lines in. So let's do let's program the first line. So let's put a green wood block in there. So, redstone first. So that activates that redstone lamp. So we just need that to move around. So we need to program the next one in, so that redstone block is connected up to that repeater. Let's just have all our redstone out of the way first. So let's get our colour bowl and put it in there, the second row. So that's the second one down. Move that round. We need to do the same for the third output. Put that in. That's the third one done. Move it around. And finally the last one. That's activated. So if we activate power to this now, those 4 redstone lamps will go off in a sequence. 2, 3, 4. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, we've also got our carry-out block as well. Now this is essentially how it works, but in order for those to get those displays working, we're going to need more than one of these hooked together. In this case, we are going to need 3 piston arrays connected together, and also command blocks. Right, so these are my 3 piston arrays. They're unconnected together at the moment. Nothing's programmed into each other. So the plan is all these 3 will be linked together into some outputs. So that output will link into the second array, into there, and then the second array will output into this third array. I've got a carry-out on the third array, but it's not going to be used for anything. So the second part of the build is we're going to need our frames for our timer. So we've got 3 squares there, so that far left is going to be the hundreds, the middle is going to be our tens, and the far left will be our single digits. So these are the blocks we're going to be using our clone commands on. If you're not familiar with clone commands, see my previous videos, we're going to need coordinates for each of those corners of those numbers, and they're going to be cloned into those frames. So I've just added some command blocks to there. As you can see, the first position is already fired off. I've programmed all those into the frame. So each of those command blocks will have a clone command for each of those numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the last one is 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 0. And on the 0, we will be placing another block in that carryout. So when it reaches 0, it'll go off into the next array, which will be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, for example. And then the third array will be our hundreds. And then when it gets to 999, it will reset itself back to 0. So I've just programmed in also the second and third lots. So all in all, there's going to be 30 separate commands running off this. So it's going to take some time. So I'll be back to you when I've programmed each of those individual commands in each of those individual blocks. Right, so I've now finished putting the input commands into the first array. So when we activate, it'll go for all those sequentially, and when it gets to 0, it'll go into the next array. So if I hit this button here, let's turn it around and it's changed to 1, 2, looks like a 5 because it's backwards, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, back to 0. Now as you can see on 0, that block has activated the carryout to go into that second array. We haven't connected up to it yet, but we will do that shortly. But before we do so, I'm just going to add a clock and make sure everything is working as it should be. So let's get my redstone clock and activate. There we go, that's ticking over nicely. And then we'll get to 9. And then back to 0, and then it will start over again. As you can see, those redstone blocks, getting each of those command blocks in turn in sequential order. Right, so let's break this and do the second set. Also, we just need to make sure that that's back on 0. Right, so I've just finished programming the second lot of 10 commands. So when we hit that, as you can see, that's cycling through the second lot of numbers. Six, 7, 8, 9, and back to 0. So we just need to hook these two together now. When you program this though, make sure that actually is set to 1 first when we're programming these in. Like so, because otherwise as soon as that activates it's gonna count across. Let's get rid of that, click it back up. Oh no, we don't do that. Right. Right, so we can leave that button. Let's create our little circuit here. And add power to our clock. Like so. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now when that hits 0, it'll carry across. There we are. 1, 2, 3. So that should go now all the way up to 99, and they will both frames, and they will both reset themselves to 0. Right, let's carry on watching, see if it goes into 2. There we are, 20. Now I'll just show you there at the back when that's ticking over. So 8, 9, There we go. Right, so we just need to make sure this ticks over nicely now to reset itself back to 0, 0. So 95, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 0. Right, so we just need to do our third array finally. So program them in, let's just make sure they work. Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we are, back to 0. So I'm just going to connect the second carry out into the third array, and now we should all be set up for this to work. Right, so hopefully now this should carry out and we should get our 100. 98, 99, 100, 101. So it's working as it should now. So all we need to do now is add a button to make this work, I think, because it's a bit annoying going to the back and just put the redstone block into that clock all the time. So I've just added some more detail to the clock there so we don't see those gaps, and I've just added another command block here with a set block command and a set of coordinates. So that will just place a redstone block where that blue block is there, and there's another set of repeaters into another command block with another set block with the same coordinates and air. So I just added about 8 ticks of delay, so it's enough time for the redstone to activate the clock and then disappear when it hits the air command. So we'll just press our button here and our clock should start again. Nice. Well, that should tick over nicely to 300 now. And this clock, this timer rather, will go up to 999 before it resets itself back to 0. So those arrays hold quite a lot of memory when you think about it. But you can make these things much bigger if you so wish, which I shall show you momentarily. So this is a big one I made earlier. You can see my previous video on this, maybe about a year or so ago. It's a bit more complicated because this is 4 arrays. This goes up to 9,999. And every 10 seconds as well, we've also got a little animation playing of the sun setting, just to add a bit, sort of a little fun element. So we're just going to activate it like the other one. Complete the circuit. There we go. And you'll see every 10 seconds a little animation of the sun actually rising, not setting actually. You can see the numbers there. Not only we've got hundreds of seconds, we've also got thousands. So, you know, in theory, you can build this as big as you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. Obviously, at this scale now, it's starting to glitch already. So I wouldn't recommend it. I think going up to 999 is high enough if you don't want your redstone build to glitch, especially if you've got such a big world like myself with lots of other crazy redstone builds going on. So that's it for this video. If you like what you've seen, please hit the subscribe button and also like, and I shall see you again in the next tutorial video. Right, ciao for now guys, and see you next time. Adios.